Well, I hate to say it, but you may lose everything that you have accumulated over the years. Right now, there is a lot of issues facing the United States government, one of which is this shutdown right here. It says the GOP sets the stage for an extended shutdown. But what exactly does this mean, and who's it going to impact? Well, let's start off with this. If you are currently living in the United States, you are going to feel the impact. You are going to feel it financially, mentally, and possibly even physically. Yeah, it's a concern. Look at this. It says Republicans and the Trump administration are bracing for a lengthy government shutdown, taking steps to alleviate any political pain that might boomerang on them while seeking to make life difficult for Democrats. One of the things that Republicans have been very clear on is Democrats are part of the reason why we're in this mess, so they are going to get a lot of the blame. Look at this. This is the White House is taking steps to redistribute funds to ensure the military gets paychecks during the shutdown. It says, doing so in this way takes care of a constituency important to the GOP and Trump, but it deprives Democrats of a vote to fund the military. And what Speaker Mike Johnson said just the other day is this. Said, if the Democrats want to go to court and challenge troops being paid, bring it, okay? Simply what he said is that Republicans understand this would be a political nightmare for Democrats if they come out and question the legality of the Trump administration finding the money to pay the military personnel. But look what just came out today. This is concerning. Says the White House may run out of funds to pay military if the shutdown continues. According to reports, the United States government does not have endless amounts of money. We're not going to continue to print new money to pay for our U.S. military. What this means is that every month, and again, here's the concern, on October 15th, that's today, this is when military personnel got paid, which they did. Here's the concern though. We can't keep doing this month after month after month. If this government shutdown gets drawn out much further, we could see military personnel not get a paycheck. But this is just one group of people not receiving payment. Here's the other issue, and this is going to impact millions of people. There is a strong concern this year that we are going to see temperatures completely plummet. We are going to see much of the United States is going to be below normal temperatures, which means we are likely going to have to run excessive heat. Look at this right here. It says U.S. electricity bills seen rising most in 3 years this winter. And you're probably wondering, well, what's this guy talking about? Why is he talking about the U.S. military? And then he goes to talk about our electric bills this year. Well, it's for one main reason. The United States government helps out pay our electrical bills. Okay? Here's the issue. Millions of people are on a program called LIHEAP. Okay? If you don't know what that is, LIHEAP is a government program that gives assistance to low-income households to help them pay for their energy costs. LIHEAP stands for, it's Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program. That's what LIHEAP stands for. Okay? And the concern is LIHEAP right now isn't shut down. This is a program that is still running. The concern, though, is that the government shutdown that happened starting this month in October, this is going to delay any release of funds. Okay? So states can still use their own funds to fund this, to give money to their residents. But that's about it. Nothing's coming from the federal government. Well, here's the reason why I'm showing you this. Look at this. It says, average residential consumers are poised to spend $1,130 on electricity this year, It's a 4% increase from 2024. You're probably thinking, well, that's not too bad, right? And it's not. It's 4%. It's doable. But here's the concern, okay? Look at this. It says the federal shutdown harms low-income families who struggle to pay power bills. This is the issue. LIHEAP is going to cause a lot of problems. Look at this. It says, but I can't tell you one important program on the line, especially after so many Georgians have experienced sticker shock over their electricity bills this year. LIHEAP, or the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, which has prevented or reversed utility disconnections in 4.6 million Southern households since 2016. If LIHEAP isn't there, are we going to see millions of Americans see their energy bills go higher and higher, but at the same time they can't afford them? Possibly. This is one of the reasons why there's this new bill out. It says Representative Raul Ruiz introduces H.R. 5756, the Home Energy Assistance in Times of Shutdown Act. This came out today. Here's the problem, though, and I want to read this to you right here. It says this bill, known as the Home Energy Assistance in Times of Shutdown Act, or HEATS Act, is designed to ensure that funding is available for the low-income home energy assistance program during periods of the federal government is shut down. The problem, though, currently has no co-sponsors. People are not lining up out of the door in order to sponsor this. That's part of the issue. So, where do we go from here? Well, here's the other problem. President Trump is going to make things potentially more difficult for millions of Americans at the same time that he's trying to make the United States better, trying to make the United States a powerhouse. Here's what President Trump just announced the other day. President Trump announced an extra 100% tariffs on Chinese goods starting next month. The reason why President Trump did this is for a couple different things. The first one, President Trump didn't like the fact that China was going to limit the amount of exports of rare earth minerals. As a result, President Trump hit them with a 100% tariff in addition to our current tariffs of 30%, meaning we're going to be paying 130% tariffs on Chinese goods. Factor that in with additional costs for electricity. Factor that in with millions of Americans not receiving a paycheck because they are working for the U.S. military. Economies are going to struggle. This is the truth. Jobs are going to be lost. But look at this right here. Okay, I want to show you something. This right here is from the Tax Foundation. It says Trump tariffs, tracking the economic impact of the Trump trade war. This is back on October 3rd, so about, 12 days ago. Now, I want to show you something. Look at this right here. It says, the average tax increase per U.S. household of $1,300 in 2025 and $1,600 in 2026. Here's the interesting thing about these numbers. This number is actually closer to like $1,400 according to other reports. So let's say it's $1,300. Here's the issue. If we see a 100% tariff on Chinese goods, then according to a new report, then the average household will pay an additional $1,000 in 2025. We're in October, okay? This is going to happen in November. If this goes down, this is going to be in November, according to reports. So if the United States, or here in the U.S., we pay an additional 100% tariff on Chinese goods, anything else that's coming into the United States, we're going to pay a total of 130% tariffs on these goods coming from China. They are saying that over the next 2 months, we are going to pay an additional $1,000 on average. That's ridiculous. How many people you think are going to be able to cover an additional $1,000 expense? Not many. Because they say more than 60% of U.S. households could not afford a $1,000 emergency. This is an emergency, but it may as well be. Okay, that's the concern. But look at this, okay? This is why all this stuff is going down. Because President Trump and Republicans say there has been too much illegal activity, that they do not believe what Democrats did was for the best of the United States. Look at this. This came out just today. It says the White House reveals illegal migrants who received Medicaid as shutdown over healthcare drags on. It says a White House spokesperson tells Fox News Digital that criminal, illegal murderers and rapists receive Medicaid at the American taxpayers' expense. That's why the Trump administration says no. We are not going to reopen the federal government if this is what you are demanding. You are okay and accepting of the fact that illegal murderers and rapists are receiving Medicaid? They say no. We are going to put an end to this now. So, what does this mean moving forward? Well, this means the federal government is likely going to remain shut for quite some time. Does this happen for the next week, 2 weeks, or potentially a month? It could, but we have no clue. Right now, lawmakers are trying to really hammer out the details here and determine whether or not they are getting closer to an agreement or getting further away. With details like this popping up just today, this tells me and many other people the United States government isn't close to opening unless Democrats side with what Republicans are giving them, which means there could be a big cut to health care. So, we'll see what happens moving forward, but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.